Mariupol in Ukrainian is a city in southeastern Ukraine, on the north coast of the Sea of Azov, at the mouth of the Kalmius River, in the Pryazovia region. It was the 10th largest city in Ukraine in 2021, and was the second largest in Donetsk Oblast in 2001, with a 2021 population of over 430,000. Mariupol was founded on the site of a former Cossack encampment known as Kalmius, and granted city rights in 1778. The city is largely and traditionally Russian-speaking, while ethnically the population is divided about evenly between Ukrainians and Russians. There is also a significant ethnic Greek minority in the city. Mariupol played a key role in the industrialization of Ukraine, and was a center for the grain trade, metallurgy, and heavy engineering, including the Illich steel and iron works in Azovstal. Not only was Mariupol a center for trade and manufacturing, but it also played a key role in the development of higher education and various other businesses. From 1948 to 1989, the city was named Zhdanov, after the Soviet functionary Andrei Zhdanov, as part of the practice of renaming cities after communist leaders. In 2014, Mariupol was threatened by separatists during the war in Donbas, but was secured by Ukrainian troops. It was appointed the provisional administrative center of the Donetsk Oblast, after the city of Donetsk became the capital of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. Separatists attacked the city several times after that. Following the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, Mariupol was a strategic target for Russian and pro-Russian forces. Since 25 February, the city has been under siege. On 13 March, the Red Cross warned that the siege had become a humanitarian crisis. A month into the conflict, Ukrainian authorities said that about 90% of buildings in Mariupol were damaged or destroyed. An aid worker from the Red Cross described the conditions there as apocalyptic, with concerns for the humanitarian situation caused by severe damage to infrastructure, access to sanitation, and food shortages. On 19 March 2022, a Ukrainian police officer in Mariupol made a video in which he said, "Children, elderly people are dying. The city is destroyed and it is wiped off the face of the earth." The video was authenticated by the Associated Press. Russian forces in Mariupol have been accused of human rights violations and war crimes. The city was given the title the Hero City of Ukraine on 13 March 2022. By 18 March, Mariupol was completely encircled and fighting reached the city center, hampering civilian evacuation efforts. On 20 March, an art school in the city, which was sheltering around 400 people, was destroyed by Russian bombing. The same day, as Russian forces continued their siege of the city, the Russian government demanded a full surrender, which several Ukrainian government officials refused. On 24 March, Russian forces entered central Mariupol as part of the second phase of the invasion. The city administration alleged the Russians were trying to demoralize residents by publicly shouting claims of Russian victories, including statements that Odessa had been captured. On 27 March, Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister, Olha Stefanishina, stated that Mariupol's inhabitants don't have access to water, to any food supplies, to anything. More than 85% of the whole town is destroyed, and that Russia's objectives have nothing to do with humanity. In a telephone conversation between Russian President Vladimir Putin and French President Emmanuel Macron on 29 March, Putin stated that the bombardment of Mariupol would only end when Ukrainian troops fully surrender Mariupol, given the advanced state of devastation in the nearly captured city. Since February 2022, the city has been besieged and severely damaged as part of the Russian invasion, in which it received the title of Hero City of Ukraine. From the 12th through the 16th century, the area around Mariupol was largely devastated and depopulated by the intense conflict between the Crimean Tatars, the Nagy Horde, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, and Muscovy. By the middle of the 15th century, much of the region north of the Black and Azov Seas was annexed by the Crimean Khanate and became a dependency on the Ottoman Empire. East of the Dnieper River, a desolate steppe stretched to the Sea of Azov, where lack of water made early settlement precarious. Being near the Muravsky Trail exposed it to frequent Crimean Nogai slave raids and plundering by Tatar tribes, preventing permanent settlement and keeping it sparsely populated, or even entirely uninhabited, under Tatar rule. Hence it was known as the wild fields of the deserted plains. In this region of Eurasian steppes, the Cossacks emerged as a distinct people in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. The Cossacks would regularly penetrate the steppe to fish and hunt, as well as for migratory farming, and to herd livestock. Their independence from governmental and landowner authority attracted to join them many peasants and serfs, fleeing the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and Grand Duchy of Moscow. The Treaty of Constantinople in 1700 further isolated the region, as it stipulated that there should be no settlements or fortifications on the coast of the Azov Sea, to the mouth of the Mias River. In 1709, in response to a Cossack alliance with Sweden against Russia, Tsar Peter the Great ordered the liquidation of the Zaporozhian Sich, and their complete and permanent expulsion from the area. In 1733, Russia was preparing for a new military campaign against the Ottoman Empire, and therefore allowed the return of the Zaporozhians, although the territory officially belonged to Turkey. Under the Agreement of Lubny of 1734, the Zaporozhians regained all their former lands. In return, they were forced to serve in the Russian army during wartime. They were also permitted to build a new stockade on the Dnieper River called New Sich, though the terms prohibited them from erecting fortifications. These terms are allowed only for living quarters, which in Ukrainian are called kureny. Upon their return, the Zaporozhian population in these lands was extremely sparse, and in an effort to establish a measure of control, they introduced a structure of districts or palankas. The nearest district to modern Mariupol was the Kalmius district, but its border did not extend to the mouth of the Kalmius River, although this area had been part of its migratory territory. After 1736, the Zaporozhian Cossacks and the Don Cossacks, whose capital was at nearby Novosibirsk, came into conflict over the area, resulting in Tsarina Elizabeth issuing a decree in 1746, marking the Kalmius River as the divide between the two Cossack hosts. Sometime after 1738, the treaties of Belgrade and Nis in 1739, in addition to the Russian-Turkish Convention of 1741, as well as the following likely concurrent land survey of 1743-1746, resulting in the demarcation decree of 1746, the Zaporozhian Cossacks established a military outpost on the high promontory on the right bank of the Kalmius River. Though the details of its construction and history are obscure, excavations have revealed Cossack artifacts, including others, within the enclosure being approximately 120 square meters in the shape of a square. The outpost was likely a modest structure in that it lay within the territory of the Ottoman Empire, and the erection of fortifications on the Sea of Azov was prohibited by the Treaty of Nis. The last Ada raid, launched in 1769, covered a vast area, overrunning the new Russian province with a huge army in severe wintertime weather. The raid destroyed the Kalmius fortifications and burned all the Cossack winter lodgings. In 1770, the Russian government, during the war with Turkey, moved its border with the Crimean Khanate southwest by more than 200 kilometers. This action initiated the Dnieper fortified line, running from today's Zaporizhia to Novopetrovka, thereby laying claim to the region, including the site of future Mariupol, from the Ottoman Empire. Following the victory of the Russian forces, the Treaty of Kuka-Kanarka eliminated the endemic threat from Crimea, so Ukraine was no longer a borderland. In 1775, Zaporizhia was incorporated into the new Russian governorate, and part of the land claimed behind the Dnieper fortified line including modern Mariupol, was incorporated into the newly re-established Azov governorate.